I'm Lu Yan from Beijing Review Magazine, and this is the Governance Podcast, a podcast that explores the past, present, and future of governance in China as it works toward meeting its development goals and finds its place in the global community. In 1776, Scottish philosopher and economist Adam Smith published an inquiry into the nature and causes of the wealth of nations. In the book, he put forward the idea that allowing individuals to pursue their own self-interest in commerce promoted economic prosperity. In China, Smith is best known for his concept of the invisible hand, a metaphor for the unseen forces that deliver this prosperity. Since China decided to bid farewell to its planned economy in 1978, remarkable transformation has taken place. With the unleashing of market forces, China has turned itself into the world's second-largest economy and brought more than 700 million people out of poverty. In President Xi Jinping's view, the market is only one side of the economic coin. In economics, resource allocation is the process by which actors within an economy decide what to spend their time, effort, and resources producing. It is Xi's belief that the market should play a decisive role in resource allocation and, at the same time, the government should better fulfill its own role. Failures by the market to allocate resources in a socially desirable way because of a short-term focus on maximizing profits must be addressed. However, there is no reason to revisit the planned economy. President Xi therefore calls for ongoing efforts to better integrate the roles of the market and the government. In other words, to make good use of both the invisible hand and the visible hand. The visible hand refers to the role of the government in regulating economic activity. Joining me for this episode of the Governance Podcast are Li Hongjun, an associate professor at the Institute of Economics at Tsinghua University, and Margit Molnar, head of the China-Morocco-Bulgaria desk at the Economics Department of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. The OECD is a 38-member international organization based in France. The majority of its members have been industrialized and are high-income economies. They will share their observations of China's socialist market economy. Hi, Li Hongjun. Thank you for joining our podcast. When China says we will see that the market plays the decisive role in resource allocation, does it mean allowing market forces to act directly on the way actors in the economy allocate resources? Or does it mean allowing market forces to play the decisive role in guiding the government in resource allocation? Is the invisible hand acting on its own? Or is the invisible hand guiding the actions of the visible hand?
When China says it will see that the market plays a decisive role in resources allocation, it's referring to a hybrid system where market forces, the invisible hand, have a key influence on the economy, but the government, the visible hand, retains an active role in guiding and shaping those forces. The phrase reflects China's evolving approach to its socialist market economy, which blends market-driven mechanisms with state control. In this approach, China aims to let market forces largely determine prices, supply, demand, and the allocation of resources within the economy, which means that businesses and individuals can operate based on profit motives and competition, similar to capitalist economies. In this sense, the invisible hand is allowed to function in areas like production, distribution, and consumption. However, While these market forces play a decisive role, the government still actively intervenes in key sectors, regulates the market, and sets strategic priorities including industrial policy, technological development, and infrastructure. The invisible hand is not acting entirely on its own, but rather coexists with the visible hand. The market influences resources allocation, but the government ensures that these forces align with broader economic and social objectives.
So, what is the meaning of the phrase, the government better fulfills its role?
When China says the government better fulfills the role, it means the government playing a more efficient and targeted part in guiding economic development, ensuring social stability, and addressing market failures. The government does not step back completely, but aims to act in ways that complement and support market mechanisms rather than replace or overburden them. In China's socialist market economy, the government sees a role for itself in 5 main areas: macroeconomic management, the regulation of key sectors, correcting market failures, social stability and development, and innovation and industrial policies. In its role as a macroeconomic manager, the government is responsible for setting overall economic policies, such as fiscal and monetary policies, and managing economic growth, inflation, and employment. It guides the economy toward long-term development goals, often through 5-year plans. In regulating key sectors, it generally allows market forces operate freely in most areas, but intervenes more actively in sectors considered crucial for national security, public interest, or strategic development, such as energy, infrastructure, and technology. It plays a role in safeguarding these industries from excessive market volatility or foreign influence. The government also aims to correct market failures by stepping in where the market may fail, such as environmental protection, public services like healthcare and education, income inequality, and regional development disparities. It uses power to address social and economic imbalances. The government also views itself as responsible for ensuring social stability and development through economic policies that prevent widespread inequalities, unemployment, or unrest. This involves setting up social safety nets, managing public resources, and ensuring access to basic services. And finally, the government actively shapes the country's economic trajectories by setting industrial policy, promoting innovation, research and development, and modernizing industries. It plays a proactive role in steering the country toward technology leadership, infrastructure development, and achieving sustainability goals. So, the sentence, the government better fulfills its role, means the state is improving how it guides economic and social development, without being what it sees as overly interventionist. It needs to intervene where necessary to influence long-term goals, promote strategic industries, and correct market inefficiencies while supporting the market to function effectively.
President Xi has called for laying equal emphasis on both the government and the market to better leverage their roles. How can this be achieved?
I think the government aims not to merely react to the market conditions, but to actively intervene and lead in areas where market forces alone may not serve the country's long-term strategic interests. President Xi has used the term 有为政府, which means well-functioning government or proactive government. As part of its role in guiding development, the government sets strategic goals and national priorities that may not emerge naturally through market competition alone. It plays a long-term role in directing resources toward key industries. For example, artificial intelligence, green technology, and high-speed rail. And it also aims to ensure this development is sustainable. Instead of letting the market self-regulate entirely, the government aims to create balance in a proactive way. A proactive government intervenes when necessary to prevent speculative bubbles, monopolies, or environmental degradation, and it ensures that market activities align with national interests. Part of the government's proactive approach also includes offering incentives like subsidies, tax breaks, and direct investment to promote innovation and industrial development in sectors it deems essential for future growth, even if those sectors aren't immediately profitable in the free market. Better leveraging the roles of both the government and the market suggests the finding of a balance between them. The market is effective when it efficiently allocates resources and drives innovation through competition. The government is well-functioning or proactive when it steps in to ensure that this market-driven growth aligns with national goals and social equity. Stepping up when the market does not fully meet public needs or social welfare.
How to find the right balance between the government and market forces is not a question unique to China. Western countries have often championed free market capitalism as a hallmark of the freedoms that set them apart from other societies and forms of government. However, in recent decades, this economic system has struggled to deliver the same level of benefits as before. Instead, it has contributed to growing economic and societal challenges, exemplified by increasing inequality. Market dysfunction has long prompted economists to explore a more nuanced approach, characterized by a combination of the visible and invisible hands. So, Margaret, what is your take on the market-government relationship?
Well, it's not an easy question because all governments face this question. So you need to find the right balance between the market and the government. The government is not supposed to leave the market alone. The government is supposed to provide all the regulatory framework so that the market can function properly. And this includes all, for instance, the product market regulation, the labor market regulation, financial market. So all the markets need to be regulated, but they should not be over-regulated. So where the market functions, where the market has the capacity, the capability, or the level of development that it can function, then it's better to leave things, for instance, the allocation of resources for the market. But if, of course, according to the economic principles, when there are market failures, then there is time for the government to intervene. Obviously, for instance, like supporting innovation, that's also one of the areas where without government support there would be underinvestment. So this is like a typical area where the government in every country intervenes. So government supports innovation, but the question is how to support and what types of innovation to support. So what is important is that to pick or not to pick. So whether the government should decide where the innovation money should go without looking at the merits of itself, of the potential innovation that can lead to waste. So that should rather be decided by the market. So it's much better if not deciding beforehand where research money should be allocated, but instead looking at the research proposal itself and the potential innovation that would come out of that research project and decide the allocation according to the merit of the project, each individual project.
Is it true that Western countries are now valuing the role of the government more than before?
Recently, there is an increased emphasis on government role, especially on supporting industries. Also in other countries, also in OECD member countries. I mean, this is related to many facts. For instance, the pandemic played an important role. So security concerns are one of the major drivers of that. So a lot of governments don't want to face the same situation that they faced during the pandemic, where they were not able to acquire the necessary vaccines or the necessary other materials that were needed. So they want to make sure that they have their own production, or they have secured sources just in case of need. So this led to an increased emphasis on industrial policy. But in general, I would say that the allocation is more based, the allocation of resources is more based on market forces, as well as regulation of markets is much more liberalized.
Some Western countries deny China market economy status. Do you think China is a market economy?
Well, I'm an economist, I'm not a political person, so I can only answer this from economics point of view. Obviously, China is moving towards a more and more market-based economy. But of course, we cannot say that it's completely market-based. The allocation of resources is increasingly based on market forces, and that's what matters. Only this process needs to be accelerated.
China's exploration of a socialist market economy is part of the global pursuit of an ideal economic management system. While this regulatory balance has fueled progress on all fronts since 1978, the country is not resting on its laurels. Based on lessons learned and mindful of the challenges that lie ahead, President Xi has underlined the importance of both an efficient market and a well-functioning government. As China puts this vision into practice, it will continue to contribute to the finding of a solution to the economic conundrum of the market forces versus government management. Throughout this series, we'll be exploring topics related to President Xi and how governance is practiced in China. To stay up to date on the podcasts, visit the Beijing Review website, bjreview.com. Find us on YouTube or Spotify with the tag Beijing Review, or look for us where you get your podcasts. I'm Lu Yan in Beijing. Thanks for listening to the Governance Podcast. Bye for now.